Now children, speed is rate of change of position of a body. It is measured by, rather it is calculated by the ratio of the distance covered by a body to the time in which this distance is covered. That is, speed is equal to distance upon time. Now, speed doesn't have any direction, so it is a scalar quantity. Distance also, remember, doesn't have any direction. So since speed is equal to distance upon time, so speed is also a scalar quantity. Now, it can either be positive or zero, but it can never be negative. Units of speed. We know that speed is equal to distance upon time. So, the unit of speed is unit of distance upon unit of time. In CGS system, we'll have the unit of speed as centimeter per second, and in SI system, we'll have the unit of speed as meter per second. Now the speed can be studied under different categories. We can have different categories of speed. So there are 4 types of speed we can define. First is uniform speed. Then we have variable speed, average speed and instantaneous speed. Now what are these individually? When you talk of uniform speed, then any object which covers equal distance in equal time intervals is said to travel with uniform speed. So we say an object is said to be in uniform speed when the object covers equal distance in equal time intervals. Remember, uniform means same. Variable, you know, is something which changes. So when you talk of variable speed, then any object which covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time is said to move with variable speed. So we can say an object is said to be in variable speed when the object covers a different distance at equal intervals of time. Now, since we are talking of variable speed, that means a body might not be covering equal distance in equal intervals of time. So, if you want to know the speed of an entire journey covered by you, then we use a term known as average speed. Now, average speed is the total distance traveled divided by total time. So, average speed is defined as the uniform speed which is given by the ratio of total distance traveled by an object to the total time taken by the object. Now, we come to a word instantaneous. Instantaneous means at that particular moment. Now, when an object is moving with variable speed, then you know the speed keeps changing. So, when we want to know the speed at a particular time, that becomes at a particular instant, that becomes your instantaneous speed. Now, when you come to the measurement of speed, then we use a speedometer. You must have seen all your vehicles, your car, motorbikes, scooters, etc. having a device which which indicates the speed with which you are driving. So for the measurement of speed in vehicles, speedometers are used. And if you want to measure the distance, remember we use odometers. Now the next term is velocity. Now velocity is in short speed along with direction. So when we want to define velocity, we say rate of change of position of a body in a particular direction. Now see, in this it is not only the talking of the displacement but also mentioning the direction. So rate of change of displacement of a body is known as its velocity. So we can say velocity is displacement upon time. It will be a vector quantity since displacement is also vector, and otherwise also I told you that velocity is speed along with direction. So obviously velocity will be a vector quantity. Now, like displacement, velocity also can be negative or zero or positive. Now, what will be the units of velocity? Remember, the units of velocity are same as units of speed. That means in CG system, it will be centimeter per second, and in SI system, it will be meter per second. Now, when you talk of different kinds of velocity, so we have average velocity. Average velocity is defined as the ratio of the linear displacement of the body to the time taken in undergoing this displacement, or in short you can say total displacement upon total time. Then you come to uniform velocity. Now, see, velocity has two things, a magnitude as well as direction. So, when you will talk about uniform velocity, then we need to very clearly understand that both things have to be same, the direction as well as the displacement. So, a body is said to be moving with uniform velocity if it always moves in the same direction and covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, however small these intervals may be. And when you talk of variable velocity, then remember, in variable velocity, it might be that the direction changes, or it might be the body covers unequal distance in equal intervals of time. So here we have to be very careful. When you use the term variable velocity, so it might be that the body is traveling with uniform speed, but its direction is changing. Then it will become variable velocity. Or it may be that the body is moving in a straight line, but it is not covering equal distance in equal intervals of time. Then also it is traveling with variable velocity. And lastly, we have instantaneous velocity, which obviously will be velocity at a particular instant or at a particular time. Now, how velocity changes? The velocity of an object, remember, changes if it speeds up, or it slows down, or it changes direction. Now, let's see what velocity means. An object's velocity tells us how fast its position is changing. For example, if a body is moving with a velocity of 5 meter per second, then this means the object's position changes by 5 meters every second. Similarly, if a velocity of object is 60 kilometer per hour, that it means that the object's position is changing by 60 kilometer every hour. Let's compare the velocity and speed. So speed is a quantitative measure of how quickly something is moving, whereas velocity defines the direction of the movement of the body or the object. Now, speed is a scalar quantity, velocity is a vector quantity. Speed is rate of change of distance. Velocity is what? Rate of change of displacement. Now, the speed of an object can never be negative, but the velocity of a moving object can be zero. When is it zero? When the displacement of the body is zero. Speed is a prime indicator of the rapidity of the object, whereas velocity is the prime indicator of the position as well as the rapidity of the object. We always have to remember that velocity has to be with respect to direction. Now, speed is defined as the distance covered by an object in unit time, whereas velocity can be defined as the displacement of the object in unit time. Basically, you need to remember that speed is a scalar quantity, velocity is a vector quantity. Velocity is simply speed along with direction. The units for both are going to be the same.